vanished thanks to Chris Middleton's clutch scoring and some big-time defense from Giannis. Devin Booker did drop a game-high 42 points for the Suns, but his foul trouble and Chris Paul's turnovers left the door open enough for the Bucks to get a 109-103 win. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard joining us now. Chris, what is your biggest takeaway from last night and what you saw?
Yeah, and look, I know you guys just addressed this, but for me, what stood out most was the poor play of Chris Paul. And to his credit, he took ownership of it, but he was just bad. Chris, for the first time in a long time, he looked every bit of 36 years old last night. Yeah, he looked like that old guy trying to hang on, you know, like the game was too fast or something. Giannis, who I don't know what you guys think. I think he played a great game, great floor game. I thought he made better decisions than the point guard. Because when they built the wall and Giannis was on the perimeter, he made great passes. He made the right plays. He hits Connaughton for a big three in the corner. He hit Drew Holiday for some big plays. And then when he was inside, he didn't force it, but he scored when he could in the paint. So I thought Giannis played a great floor game, but Chris Paul struggles because Booker got no help. We know Chris Middleton was great, Devin Booker was great. And Middleton got help. Giannis played a great game, and Drew Holiday was good, at least defensively. But on the other side, Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton had 17 rebounds, but only 6 points, and Chris Paul had 10, but really 8 points. Because his last layup with 2 seconds left was irrelevant. For him to have 5 turnovers, guys, we know that part of Chris Paul's claim to fame as an all-time great point guard is he hardly ever turns the ball over. Like, his assist-to-turnover ratio is tremendous. So for him to make 5 turnovers, Phoenix goes on and makes 17 as a team. That gave Milwaukee a huge edge, 24-5 in points off turnovers. It was a close game. That's a huge difference right there. And the scary thing for Suns fans is that Chris now has 15 turnovers in the last 3 games. That's more than he had in the previous 2 series against the Clippers and the Nuggets combined. So is he wearing down or what? The last turnover, with 32 seconds left, to me, that looked like a turnover of stress and pressure. Like, Drew Holiday played great defense all game. But Chris Paul's seen all the best perimeter defenders in the league over the last 15 years. So I'm not buying that Drew just was too much for him. But on that last play, Chris just stumbled, lost his balance, and then lost the ball. Like right here, he just stumbles. That looked like stress to me, pressure. Like, what? He doesn't do that. And I hate to say this, but it reminded me of going back to 2014, Oklahoma City versus the Clippers. The series tied 2 games apiece. Clippers are up 7 with 45 seconds left. Game's over. And Chris makes 2 big turnovers in the last, 12 seconds, 14 seconds, and fouls Russell Westbrook on a 3-pointer, and Westbrook hits all 3 free throws, and Oklahoma City wins that game and goes on to win the series. That was a meltdown for Chris Paul. And it wasn't as bad, but that's what it brought to my mind it looked like a moment meltdown to me. Look, I think he'll bounce back. He better. Because one of the storylines going in, to me, was this is Chris's redemption. Because we all know about some of the failures in the playoffs that he's had, even if it's just injuries. But this was a chance to put all that in the back burner, and now we're highlighting your championship. Now, if he continues to play poorly and they lose this series, then his playoff struggles will be a big part of his story as we look back at his legacy.
Yeah, Chris Paul was god-awful. But when you look at there's no reason the Suns should have lost this game. They shot 11 percentage points higher from the field than the Bucks. The Bucks winning the game, that's the 5th worst margin percentage-wise from the field, the -11 of a winning team in NBA history. That's the 5th. But let me tell you how you do that. You get 17 offensive rebounds, and you let the other team get 5. You outshoot them from the free throw line plus 10. And when you do things like that in turnovers, you force the other team into 17, and you commit 5. That's how you win. And when you got the guy that wants the ball in his hand, he must have the ball in his hand. It's almost like he's like, what am I going to do if I don't have the ball? He demands the ball, and he's giving it back. What it looked like to me, it didn't look like it was stress. He looked like he was old. Skip, you will remember this. I don't remember it, but I saw footage of Willie Mays stumbling in the outfield. That's what that looked like with Chris Paul right there. There was nobody around him. He didn't get tripped. He had already beat Holiday. When he stumbles and loses the ball, Holiday just reaches in and like, thank you, grabs it and takes off the other way. You can't play like this. The Bucks come out, jacking up threes, Chris. This is why I believe they're still going to lose the series. Instead of getting inside to Giannis, instead of getting inside to Brook Lopez, how do they start the game off, Chris? 3 after 3 after 3. Yep. Giannis missed 2 free throws. He comes down, shoots another threes, misses badly. Chris Paul is turning the ball over. So what could have been an 8, 10, 12-point ball game, Chris Paul turns the ball over, lets them stay in it, and then they get offensive rebound. Coddington has 3 offensive rebounds. Porters, Tucker, you got to keep them off the glass. It's not good enough to force them to miss if you're going to let them get the ball and put it back in the hoop. But this game was for the taking. The Suns should feel good going back home with a commanding 3-1 lead. And don't let anybody fool you. Now they're doubting themselves because they had an opportunity to put a stranglehold on this. They can say all they want to. Oh, we feel good. We have home court. Yeah. But the other team has the best player in this series, in Giannis, and he can win a game. You better win Game 5. Because if you don't win Game 5, you'll never come back to see a Game 7 in Phoenix.
So my perspective is I'm getting worn out on this show from talking about this game because it's excruciating to talk about. It's more painful by the topic to talk about the disaster this game was for a Suns team that is better than the Bucks. The Phoenix Suns are a little better than the Bucks, but they haven't consistently played better than the Bucks, especially last night. But I'm going to remind everybody that even though Chris, who's become a huge Giannis fan on this show, says he played great last night, everybody was saying, he's going to go for 40 for a 3rd straight game. He scored 26. So you did what you needed to do without building a wall. DeAndre Ayton was credible against him. DeAndre Ayton at least made him work for his points. And nobody hustles harder than Giannis. But most of his points last night were just hustle.